Doesn't it seem like everybody and their mother has a podcast? Oh, oh, so I started a podcast with my mom. We wanted a theme song so you could sing along. The show, it starts now.
Oh, is that coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Yummy. All right, hold on. Don't get dizzy. I will remove one layer. Okay. Hi, good to see you.
See you too. Happy day.
Happy day. I'm looking forward to the Open, the tennis Open in NYC, well, in Flushing Meadows. You know, where the Men in Black was filmed, where they show the big earth sculpture from the World's Fair of
Yeah.
60 something,
65.
65.
It
So
was
I'm looking-
it was the World's Fair, I believe, where It's a Small World was debuted.
Wow, another connection. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. 1964/1965.
Wow. They
Yeah.
had a speakerphone there, a telephone that was a speaker. I think it was there was something special. I'm sure it was a speakerphone. And we therefore expected this to show up very soon after that. And of course it did not.
Speakerphone or video phone?
I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, a lot
I
of
just
phones
don't
there.
remember.
So wait, you're talking about watching the tennis US Open that's taking place at Arthur Ashe Stadium?
Yes. Yes.
Nice.
Okay. Anyway, so that's exciting.
Look at this.
Um,
Total coincidence. Speaking of It's a Small World and World's Fair,
oh, that's nice. Nice.
sipping out of an Epcot mug that was made for the opening of Epcot. This mug is almost as old as I am.
That's great. Epcot. Wow.
Yeah. Well, what a great time it was last week to have Bevan on the show. I've listened to that episode and I've gotten, I don't know about you, but such positive feedback. And it was such a delight to have her. And I thought you did a great job. It was so cool to have a guest and have it go so well.
Thank you. You're a good interviewer, and you know, everything's easy with Bevan, kind of like Mary Poppins. Speaking of
All right.
Sherman music, it's
Yeah.
she's delightful. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad that we did it. And she's very inspirational. And even though I follow her on Instagram and on Fat Kid Dance Party, you know, it reminds me, get up and move. Don't just
Yeah.
walk here to there. Move the body parts, jump up and down. Even though I watch her, so I think I know a lot about her philosophy and her view of the world. I made notes on a couple of things she said during our show that really helped me, that I really like. So yeah, she was delightful.
I thought you did a great job interviewing her as well. The idea of when in her class somebody feels awkward, they're instructed to yell out, "I feel awkward," and everyone else is instructed to applaud for them. I just love that so much. I think it's so great.
And then I said to her, can I just like do that during the day in real life? She
She's
said,
like,
yes,
"Yeah,
exactly.
Sure.
It, you know, especially now where some people are very stressed about what's going on with the virus.
What
There
virus?
are times where this just, if you say that and you announce it, I think it can really bring you down to a better level, a quieter level. So it's
Yeah.
gonna tough to find somebody to interview who's as like on the mark as Bevan.
I think we set ourselves up for a challenge to find our next set of guests who can achieve what she achieved. But it's a good challenge. And I started to look through my contact list with the lens of like who's next. And I started to, I mean, and there's not many candidates. There's very interesting people and some people I forgot were on my contact list, but there were, oh, maybe, no, And I started to play this game of like, what if we went through our contact lists, and if they don't make a good guest, we delete them from our contact lists. Like we don't talk to them again.
Well, I look up something occasionally on my contacts. I need a plumber. Well,
Mhm.
plumber's not a good example because I have a great plumber here in California. But I need, I don't know, whatever, carpenter. So I look up carpenter and I see references from Philadelphia, from LBI, from New York, and maybe from Santa Monica.
Right.
And then I think, should I delete those other ones? I don't even know if these people are where they are or what they're doing, but do I delete?
Right.
I have probably most of my contacts could be deleted because if it's trades and I don't live in Philadelphia, so I probably won't need the name. But somehow I don't think I should get rid of these names. I don't know why.
The only carpenter I have in my contact, I wanted to see if I had any legacy contacts. The only carpenter I have in my contact list is a fellow whose daughter is like a celebrity, but I met them 15 years ago when she was a child. She's on like some TV shows now and just put out an album, but I have no actual carpenters. But like, if you have a carpenter from Philadelphia, you might never need them again, or one day someone might say to you, I need a recommendation for a carpenter. I'll bet you know someone, and you'll get to pull out that name, and I don't know. But the litmus test of like, if they don't make a good guest, I'm not gonna, I don't know. I plugged my phone into the car and was futzing with it, and it called the first person in my contact list, who happens to be this woman I worked with for a year, 18 years ago. And it just starts ringing, and I'm like, I don't know why we're calling Valerie Abbott. I mean, she's a lovely woman. It'd be fine to have called her, but it was like, what? It was sheer panic. It was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't want to talk to this random person. I'm sure I hope she's doing well, but I didn't mean to call her. Hi, Valerie.
I was on a phone call, it might have been with you recently, and did my thumb move? I don't know what happened. Often with my phone, I don't know what happened. The next thing I knew, I was inviting somebody else in my contact list to join the call. Then I got, a little paranoid, like, well, and I hit the red button to stop it, but I was like, like I said, I think it was you. I said, hang up, I'll call you back. I have to start over.
Yeah. And you
It
texted
was
me like,
somebody that I never would have called. I don't even know who this person was.
it was great. You texted me like a full 8 minutes later or something, and you were like, we're not still on FaceTime, are we? And I was like, no, we're very much
Oh,
not,
it was FaceTime, right?
very much not on a call right now. It's like,
Like I
I
had
don't
to,
think
I
so.
had to close everything that was open on my phone to be sure I didn't have anything still, because you never know.
Uh,
Oh.
so I got my girlfriend a gift as part of her birthday that I want to show to you as part of our show and tell today. So the jam and jelly company. I mean, a lot of people have this product. Bon Maman, I think I'm saying this correctly. You know this guy?
Yes.
Bunch of different flavors.
Yes.
So I was on the internet and I saw that Bon Maman, and if I'm saying it wrong, I apologize to them and French speakers across the globe. They apparently once a year put out an advent calendar where each of the days of the advent have a different tiny jam in them. And so I was like, what is this? I knew she'd love it, and spoiler alert, she did. So I'm going to show this to you. This is so adorable. It's intended for Christmas, but it came out in August, September. It's rather large. And then it opens up into this winter wonderland situation. And you might not be able to tell. Oh, if you're listening to us, please go to our YouTube channel. When you're there, hit subscribe. Everybody and their mother has a podcast. This is a visual moment. And then you can see that we did not wait or go in order. But if you start with like a random day,
Oh, they all pop open?
there's perforations and in each one of them is a
Oh, it's
little
precious.
mini precious jam. This one
Oh, it's a gift box of little mini jams.
Orange cinnamon spread. So each day there's 27 or 8. I'm Jewish. I'm not sure how many days are in the Advent. 24. Oh, 24 days. That's right. And so we started in September, and this is it. I thought you'd get a kick out of it.
It is stunning.
They're not paying for this. It's September.
Big
You don't know
mistake.
them, but I just thought you had to see this. It was really cute. You can see
Error.
it has like a number and perforations.
It's first of all, it's beautiful. It's beautifully done. It's done with love. I don't know who created it or thought of it, but what
Someone
a
who cares.
wonderful.
They like cared. You could tell they care about their customers. It's cool.
It's delightful.
It's lovely.
Would make great gifts for all kinds of people.
Totally. Totally. I want to go back a second, A moment ago, you said you're speaking about Bevan, the idea of the sort of I feel awkward and yelling out and having that be received by people cheering for it
Yeah.
as a mechanism to sort of like center yourself in trying times. You've had a bit of a mantra statement for a number of weeks or months at this point that we might have spoken about the show. We share it with our listeners.
Yes, because there are multiple times during the day where I like, all right, don't freak out. Everything's gonna be, what is everything going to be?
Is everything.
Okay, and I take a minute and I remind myself, first of all, I check in and make sure it's true. Right here, right now, I'm safe. And
Great.
really, that's all we ever can do. It's just things have become the things that wrap people and things and experiences have been peeled away, and it's exposed now. It's kind of like, ah, shit, anything could happen.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
But it's hyper intensified. But if I can remind myself right now, right here, I'm safe. And if I can't, then I will pay attention to that thing. I can't, believe me, if I could control any of these things, I would have done it differently.
It's been very
But-
helpful. It's a mantra. And I'm calling it a
helps.
mantra. I don't know if you call it a mantra, but it's something that I think is like
that.
really great. I've shared it with a number of people. I've also I've borrowed it and massaged it a little bit and made it a song title. So I'm working on this batch of songs that I've not spoken about, but I'm almost finished. I'm going to share it soon. And it's a project called Tropical Depressions. And it is an instrumental, no words, no vocals, an instrumental album that I created myself that is an expression of my pandemic experience and feelings from March 2020 to about March 2021. And so it's kind of all over the map. It's almost like a sonic mixtape. So some of it sounds like a song, some of it sounds like a little interstitial. It's not like a traditional song cycle. It's more mixtape palette. And one of the songs that had a placeholder title I recently renamed Right Here, Right Now, You Are Safe. So I switched the you to
Oh,
you. So you'll see that.
I'll live on in this song.
You will. Oh, you're in a bunch of these songs, but yeah. So I'll play
That's
it.
great.
I was
That's
going to
great,
play
and
it.
also thank you.
Oh, thank you. I was going to play it for you and for the
Oh, thank
crew.
you.
But I think no, thank you. But I think I will
thank
wait
you.
because I'm almost finished mixing and mastering the album. So I think a week or two from now I'll be sharing it in real ways.
Oh, I'll look forward to that. That's great.
Thank you.
You really didn't skip a beat on your music. It's been terrific.
I like the pun. I maintain that I leaned into it more. It was a perfect storm of time on my hands, not going anywhere, having built up and banked a bunch of song sketch ideas, and also the previous number of years getting good at producing with, technically learning the process of mixing and mastering. And it was this convergence of all these things. And so I will throw up a picture here. I will put up a picture here on the
We'll
show.
throw up a picture.
I will.
Toss up, put up.
It's very like David Lynch or like Andy Warhol. Like it's an exhibit at like MoMA where the artist like throws up a picture. It has to like unfold it at the show and show it to everybody. Maria Abramovich's Regurgitation this fall at MoMA.
Oh, now you'll start something in the art world. Ugh.
Well, I don't know if it'll make you feel better or worse, let you know that vomit artistry predates this conversation.
I don't even want to.
I will put
I'm
up,
sorry, I centered on it.
I will edit and put up a picture of my bulletin board wall where I finally reorganized everything, and I've taken all the song ideas in various stages, and this song belongs to this set. These sets belong to this cycle. This cycle belongs to this. This is me as a person. This is maybe an artist name. This is like soundtrack stuff. It looks like I'm solving a crime because it's a bulletin board with note cards, and I have like string that sort of denotes like what areas belong to what. It looks like I'm about to crack the case.
I love that. It's a good part of me for moving around so much. It's a good style to harness your creativity and keep track of it.
It's been you say like I used the time well, or I didn't skip a beat, and like I said, I think it was like it saved me from a lot of turmoil, a lot of angst, and a lot of outward expression of pain that I've been able to focus some of that into the stuff I've made. And there's these different categories, and I'll stop talking about myself in a second. The idea that like the Aminal Song collection, which were more lighthearted, esoteric, sort of bizarre, silly stuff, was a channeling of that madness, right? So a feeling of not being able to go somewhere because I like skipped town to lay low during a pandemic. The choice is to make like a heaviosity song about that, like, oh my God, it's feeling, or to make it like about a raccoon, right? So I've had a couple divergent but similar expressions of the same experiences. So there's this batch of like very, I hesitate to call them silly, but lighthearted, comedy things. And there's stuff like Tropical Depressions, which is made at the same time, So like a coup happens, the first coup attempt happens, and one song is a joke, but the next day or that same day, I'm writing a song about the feeling of watching something like a coup attempt happen. So there's a dissociation, but it's also part of the same batch. It's a pretty fascinating time.
I hadn't thought of it like that, but it's true. So many strong occurrences and therefore responses and thoughts came in. We were bombarded with so much stuff, and
Yeah.
that's one of the challenges. I've gotten my mail, my email
You got
down
mail.
a lot. I've unsubscribed from many, 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 many things. Sometimes I had to unsubscribe 4 or 5 times, and I did. And now when I open up my mail, it's like, oh, I don't have anything today.
Oh, good for you.
It's wonderful.
Good for you.
Some things I keep, even they're advertising clothes, I'm not actually buying them, but like, well, I might miss something if I get rid of it, and it's kind of fun. And I do check the news probably twice a day, and you get all kinds of things thrown at you. But I'm checking faster and shorter, more condensed. And I find myself now reaching for the phone to check things. Oh, and Instagram. There are some artists that I follow on Instagram that seeing their art fills me up, gives me ideas, is interesting, and different things. And also, I have to think of his name. The person that we saw, one of your birthday presents last year was a video following of Northern Lights. And I follow him, and it's delightful.
A live tour. We got a live from Iceland.
I
in
can
real
look up the
time.
name, but I hadn't thought of it before. Anyway, he's terrific. I can mention the name another time. And he's interesting, but there's ads now. I have
There's been ads the
equal-
whole time.
I have more ads than I have like things coming up.
Because you're following
So
all the
now-
people you want, and it's only artists, so you don't have a whole gunky timelines. They filled it with ads.
Well, I also have friends and family in there, but if you go to the top on Instagram, to the circles, to the reels, people post videos. And those are the best. They're short, they're succinct, they're interesting, or they're not. It's check-ins. So I pretty much go to those every day, and they're fun.
I'm gonna get you logged into the Everybody and Their Mother Has a Podcast TikTok account, because Reels on Instagram is Instagram trying to rip off TikTok. Just like YouTube's, what are they calling it? Shorts is YouTube's attempt to rip off TikTok. Because last week, TikTok surpassed Facebook and YouTube for most engagement, most time in America. So
Yeah, I really want to spend that much time on TikTok.
another reason I'm suggesting it. No, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, but there'd be two things. One is you'd be logged in as our show. So anything you do would be in service of the show. Maybe you'd start posting
Okay.
for us. Maybe start posting. And it's much different. The stuff that you're enjoying, that feeling of very short, lighter, interesting is, I think, what you'll find on TikTok in a way that Instagram is like everybody faking the funk. And I think Instagram's exhausting and terrible. I don't mess with Instagram.
Wait, pause. I'm overloading with all this information. If I may say, when I look at the reels, I see my new great niece, because Katie posts reels with her. I see trainer Anthony's kids, which I mean, these are my favorite shows.
I think it
It's
might be
people
Katie's
that I
birthday.
know and love. What?
I think it might be Katie's birthday.
So TikTok would be strangers doing things. I don't want to go down rabbit holes.
Why do you think it's stranger?
don't mind
Katie's birthday.
Oh, Katie, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I'll call her afterwards.
Were you allowed to say how old she is? No, probably not.
I don't think so.
I had a birthday last week. I didn't tell anybody how old I am, although I think at this point it's obvious.
No, it's not.
So the main point I'm getting to is now when I go to the phone, it's like I read the Times, whatever I want to read in the Times. I've checked the stock market. I check like, more often. I've read the local news from Spectrum One, and I've gone to the reels. Oh, here's a picture of Ellie on a tractor with Katie. I mean, this is why I go on to it. And then at some point I go on to check and I think, there's nothing, I don't have anything to check. And then I go to my entertainment screen and I pick the New York Times mini puzzle, and I do a couple puzzles, word puzzles, cute, which I think are fun also.
Really fun. What's your record?
Oh, I don't know, 0.56.
What's that mean? Oh, like 56 seconds?
Yeah, but usually it's much longer. It's like 3 minutes. Like I have no idea what any of these are. And I actually solved the puzzle and it's like,
It's fun.
oh, I didn't know that. So it's also a learning experience for me and that's fun. Anyway, I like everything about it. So now when I go to the phone and I say, there's really, you did this already, put it down.
Yeah.
And I pick up a book and I start reading my book.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh my goodness.
That's great. I love that.
I might actually finish this one and move to another one tomorrow.
I put myself on a Twitter timeout recently. I don't typically post, but I consume it voraciously. And there's always something to be upset about. 24
That's
hours
the
a
other
day.
thing. I don't get upset reading my book.
Always. I'm not trying to be ignorant of what's going on there, but I started checking a little bit less. And then this weekend in particular, I've not touched Twitter. I logged in once for a client, but I've not gone to Twitter. And
Wow.
I know what's going on, especially
You
we're filming.
feel better, right?
I feel better. I'll tell our audience. You'll hear the show on Wednesday. We're filming on Sunday. So it's 3 days before the show airs. Yesterday was 9/11. Today's football Sundays. I don't need to go on the Twitter to see 9/11 stuff and football stuff. I'm cool. I'm good. I know what's happened. And I have had more time to get upset about all sorts of different things.
Pick up a book.
No, I'm joking. I'm less upset, and I will. I love that idea of like the instinct to check the phone could be replaced with the instinct to like maybe pick up the book. What are you reading?
I'm not going to tell you because it's the same book I was reading for a long time.
You could just make
Because
it
I
up.
walk around with the book and then I'm like, I could just make it up. I walk around with the book and it's like, oh, I didn't go for a walk yet, or oh, I should do this, or oh, I wanted to do that, and I didn't call anybody to. So I'm reorganizing. It's much better. But I will recommend a book. I don't know if I've mentioned this before in the show. When you and I started our conversation today, and peppered throughout the conversation, so that's an analogy. There's no pepper here, but pepper through is an analogy, and it helps the brain picture things, remember things, have interest. And there's a book called I, capital I, is the other, OTHER. And one would think, how could I be the other? I is me and the other. Well, this book is amazing. And it's about metaphor. And once you read the book, you will realize every conversation you hear and everything that you read that somebody writes is, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say largely, greatly, mostly metaphor. If you look at individual sentences, most of the sentences that we utilize to explain and express ourselves are metaphors that somebody else wrote or just threw out there and became part of the vernacular and the language. So the book is I is the other, and it's fascinating on many levels. And after you read the book for at least the next 6 or 8 months, all you hear is metaphors. You hear the metaphors every time you talk to somebody. And I played a game for a while with myself. How could I say this without using a metaphor? It's impossible. It's fascinating. I really like understanding words and communication. So I really liked this. And anybody I've recommended the book to has enjoyed it. But sometimes I just want to giggle when I talk to somebody. I'm doing it too, because it's like put the cart before the horse. But what is a better way to explain that than that metaphor? And a lot of the metaphors are so old, 100, 150 years old, that we don't even know what they meant. So it's fun to look up a metaphor and find out the origin.
Sometimes it's fun to look up a metaphor and find out the origin. Most times it's horrendous because they're rooted in bad things. So they are.
Many times it's racist.
Many times.
It's antagonistic.
Sexist.
It's everything is sexist. Maybe women will actually get equal rights someday on the books.
I will read it. I do like it. I like that little Reading Rainbow segment. Your recommendation is really cool. It reminds me of the idea of metaphor as speech is like the idea of society as reality. Like most of us don't really know what reality is. We just know what society is, right? We just know like, oh, in this reality, wake up and go to school, right? Because society is decided we go to school. Not that you shouldn't, but it's kind of the same through line. Like we're using like, here are the words on a board, choose which ones you want to use to express yourself, right?
Yes, and also we make up expectations and we behave as if, and we believe that they're reality.
Right.
And actually they're not. You have a lot more choices. You just fall into patterns. I said to you something about, I don't want to, well, actually I said this a few times lately. I don't want to go to the thing we might have thought we would have gone to by now. I don't want to go to the tennis in the desert because I'm avoiding people. Hello.
Yeah.
And the thought of being near, like in a stand with a bunch of people is so anathema to me. I just can't. I'm so far away from even thinking about that. And I know people are out and about and doing all this stuff, but I don't have to explain why. I don't have to worry why. I don't have to double think myself. all I have to say is, yeah, I'm not going. I choose to go. But I think a lot of times people get used to know, I made an appointment, I have to go. Well, actually, if it's not a good day for you to go, you don't have to go. Now, you might choose to go for whatever reasons. So reality, you can't pin down reality. That's an
Yeah,
interesting one, but it keep you busy for your whole life. But it is interesting to look at it through, here's another, to look at it through another lens. Those aren't my words. I just insert the words that come to me to try to express what I mean. And at the end of the day, I don't think people understand what
At the end of the
saying.
day.
At the end of the day,
Well, at the end of the day,
don't understand what you're trying to express anyway.
at the end of the day is a turn of phrase that is used so often that I am now like weirdly conditioned. When I hear it on TV, I say it out loud. And we're watching this one reality show that I'm not going to discuss. I will not be discussing what show it is. People on the show, and there's many of them, use the turn of phrase at the end of the day so often that whenever I hear, I say it out loud, and I'm basically saying it out loud constantly in the living room because of
So do they just hear it so often from each other that they get stuck on it?
Yeah, I mean, people think of the use of the word literally, or the use of, no, whatever the thing is, something becomes fashionable, becomes, in the speech vernacular. And to your point, in this book that I haven't read, it's about using the tools that we've been handed versus like thinking about them for a second. I'm reminded of my dear friend James, who we should probably have on as a guest one day.
I was thinking about James yesterday. I saw him on Instagram.
We should have James on as a guest, but he has a turn of phrase. He has a statement that he's for as long as I've known him, which is over 20 years, about 20 years. We would have met 20 years ago this month, actually. I'm gonna give him a call after this.
How did you know that?
Only because of this recent discussion.
Wait a minute. Oh, it's September. Okay.
Well, recent discussion around dates and September 11th and 20 years ago, and where I was and where things were. So I'm newly reminded of a couple of anchor dates and friendships and cities and things. James has been using this phrase for as long as I've known him in the context of when everyone's doing a certain thing or certain things, whatever. The phrase is, I'm on a different trip. He goes, I'm on a different trip. We'll go, oh, well, so-and-so just did this thing, whatever it is, normal life experience things. Had a kid, bought a house, but it could be like, they got this job and they hate it, but they've been there for 5 years. He's just like, yeah, I'm on a different trip. Like, he just wouldn't do that. And he's
no criticism, there's no
pressure.
negativity. He's not comparing his thoughts to their thoughts, which
I'm on a different trip.
To do.
And I try to
I'm
use
on a
it.
different trip.
Yeah, it's using context.
James, thank you. You'll hear me using that. I might come up with a little different word than trip, but it could be experience. It could be lesson.
You could just use a turn of phrase.
I may, but I might modify it. But anyway, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So there's the realities and there's the society thing in realities. And then some of us, like James, are just like, that has nothing to do with me, man. It's cool. It's something to achieve, to strive to achieve.
I told you I had somebody I used to be friends with, only since we were 6 years old, but they decided that they didn't like me anymore. That's okay. And I would say something, I have a habit, an experience of getting very emotionally involved in things.
Giving a shit.
I'm not saying what?
Giving a shit.
Giving a shit.
How dare you care so much?
Not because I'm a Virgo, but it's that part. It
doesn't hurt.
Part of who I am. And I was going on about something. And my friend turned to me and said, but what do you care? And I tend to answer questions when asked, another fault of mine. And I thought, yeah, what do I care?
Yeah, what do I care?
Practicing that sometimes. What do I care?
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I just stopped caring. I'm trying my best, Ringo. I'm trying to grab onto the things about being a little lighter, floating above it, caring less, taking it less personally, consuming less, being in that flow. And it's that in and of itself is a job. So we're doing all right, you know?
We're doing great. It's the rest of the world that's screwed up.
And maybe I don't know, maybe some of our listeners are doing okay too, or doing a little tiny, teeny bit better, knowing that we're all out there trying to do the best we can. And this one's a tickle, to use a lovely turnip phrase.
There was a movie,
Turn up for what?
something into Africa,
Out of Africa?
something into Africa, traveling into Africa. I can't come up with it. It's one of these big screen, major extravaganza movies.
Sure, it wasn't out of
And
Africa.
I don't know what was out of Africa about.
Sidney Pollack, 1985, 86,
Sidney Pollack?
directed it.
Yeah. We could play a game. Maybe
Danish
it wasn't.
memoir.
What?
Danish memoir, 17 years in Kenya.
I don't know, but in the movie, whatever it is that I'm imagining was called something out of in Africa. There was an Indian, religious Indian character, and he's dealing with different people. And something happened and somebody said to him, "Why didn't you step in and try to stop them?" And he said, "So I'm here to help the world have one more person who takes care of it and is kind to people." And he said, "But my job isn't to tell them what to do. I can talk to them and maybe encourage them to behave in ways that I think are good, but I can't go in and tell them what to do." It was interesting, and I've thought
Scientific.
about that for years. What?
It's scientific. It's like the documentarian not being able to interfere, or the scientists not being able to save the animal. Part of it is observing and reporting.
If somebody came to him and asked for advice, maybe he would give it, but he wasn't running around fighting other people's battles or influence. I don't know if this is what he meant, but my thought is that when you step in and do something, and sometimes you should, is that you don't know what it will cause to happen. And it could cause something to happen that's worse than what was happening, and just, you don't know what you put into play. Of course, talk about reality. That's the way things are.
The same problem with time travel.
Same problem with time travel, right? Right.
Which, by the way, time travel has been somehow fused with teleportation. People go, "Where would you go? Where would you go back in time?" And they name something. It's like, okay, well, how would you get there?
Wait, what do you mean time travel has
All
been
right,
fused
time-
with teleportation?
All right, time travel. If you could go anywhere in time right now for a visit, knowing you'd come back, where would you go?
I can't answer that
Just
question.
pick a random answer for the sake of this argument, please.
Oh my God, 1968, 69.
Where?
But I don't mean that. Don't come and get me.
It's just a
Where?
Yeah.
You want me to just make something
You
up?
want to be sitting right there in 1968?
I don't really want to do this game. I don't really want to go back, but
Never mind. Okay.
I know I'm a Virgo. I can't
I'm
just
sorry to upset you.
around lightly.
Well-
This is like,
For the listeners who might want me to finish my thought, it's about the idea that when we say, "Oh, time travel, go back and stop Hitler," right? Or go back and whatever, right?
and you
That's
say,
how-
how would you get there?
That's how they
Well,
go
we
back.
don't know.
Back in time just reverses the clock and gets us to a time. But we'd still be right where you are in that equation. Going back in time to stop Hitler means going to Austria. Well, how would you get to Austria if you time traveled back right now and it was 1930, whatever, 1928, and you were in California?
you're saying that if one went back in time right now, boy, look
Right.
at the traffic. That would be a mess. Can you imagine the traffic? Everybody going back into time. And at some point on some day, nobody was here,
Sounds awesome.
right? Wait, where'd everybody go? Wait, did I miss my time travel ticket?
Oh, here's a real pickle. What if
Isn't that
right
funny?
what if right now is when everyone came back to, which is why it's so crowded.
That explains so much. It explains so much.
And yet nothing at all.
Somebody came back to stop Hitler and ended up with, what's his name? I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, right.
Said I
Maybe.
wouldn't say his name.
Or
Like, I
like
can't play Pinochle
fact-
anymore.
Or like someone tried to go back to stop Hitler and we have like fax machines because of it, right? Like who knows?
But now you've opened up another whole thought about reality.
Mm.
Maybe we can change a lot of this. We just haven't figured out where that button is yet.
The question is, if we could time travel, where are the time travelers?
Well, the one school of thought is they live amongst us and we're not aware of it.
How? They're all keep it a secret. People can't keep secrets.
Well, another same school of thought is those people came here and they're the ones that were put into mental institutions and given shock therapy.
Huh.
So if you ever decide that you know the meaning of reality
Uh-huh.
and you've solved some of the major existential questions of forever,
Mhm.
don't tell anybody because they'll lock you the fuck up. They won't believe you. And if the Matrix actually existed and we went in and out of it, well, of course the Matrix exists. If some of these scenarios existed and we went in and out of them,
Yes.
the first thing they would teach you before you went was don't tell anybody, they'll put you in a mental institution.
That's not a bad point. It's not a bad-
Or like ET, the one doing experiments.
Or what if for the first big chunk of whatever weird time, it was like, don't tell anybody because they'll put you into a mental institution. And then Reagan just let everyone out of the mental institutions in the 80s. So it became a moot point. Next time on Everybody and Their Mother Has a Podcast, we talk about society coming apart at the seams because of Ronald Reagan's decision to just empty the goddamn mental institutions to save a buck.
Okay, so I don't have the article or data in front of me,
That hasn't stopped anyone for anything.
but you probably know all the
No.
details.
Just if you don't have data,
Sometimes-
if you don't have the data to back up your argument, just scream. That's what we do these days.
Wait, I saw that. Where did I see that? I saw that on Twitter.
I
Just
don't
scream.
know.
What was that about? Yesterday. I
don't know.
saw
I
that.
wasn't there.
This whole thing, and then it's like just scream. And every
I did scream last week. The first time in a real long time. It actually felt great.
did you really?
Oh yeah, I just let loose. It was quite loud. Healthy. I recorded it.
All right. But where did you go to scream? You couldn't scream in your apartment. People would no, they wouldn't call the police. They wouldn't care.
I was in a car. Where Los
screamed
Angeles, where Los Angelinos do their best screaming. But you were saying Matrix is real.
Major what?
The Matrix is real. Something about it being yeah, I don't know.
Oh, the government released
Oh right.
notice of in 2020 maybe that yes, they actually do have evidence of flying saucers. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Did they admit that they had a body or a plane or something? Something.
They didn't-
And what?
Sorry, I interrupted you. Please.
They said there was information available. They declassified it, and yes, it's true. Well, I was like really into this. until I read that. And then it was like not that interesting anymore. My point is that you asked if somebody came here from another time or from another planet. Wouldn't we know? No, we wouldn't know, because
Another planet we wouldn't know. Time travelers we'd know. That's humans being expected to keep a secret, which we know they can't do. Other planetary stuff, that's a whole different, I have a whole different.
oh, Rick, number one rule in time travel is don't tell anybody, because it will change the course of history in a bad way. Everybody knows that.
I thought the number one rule in time travel was don't talk to yourself.
Why? So they won't put you in a mental institution?
Well, it depends on what reality or what philosophy would be. Back to the Future concept of time travel, which has been adopted by like way too many stories, suggests that if you meet yourself and you and yourself sort of touch or discuss things, like the whole thing crumbles. Like that's very like a space-time continuum vacuum occurs. Also, just be very awkward.
Yeah, but I don't know if that holds water. I don't know if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
I
definitely
have
doesn't make
an
any
idea,
sense.
but it's a little bit kind of, I don't want to say weird, but I don't know if I want to get into this discussion on my thoughts on this.
Well, if not,
Yeah, some people don't think about these things at all.
it doesn't sound great.
No, this is the fun stuff.
I appreciate that. I just feel like it's never been a better time to be ignorant.
So when you want to pick up the news, read a book. You get lost in a book. Books take you away. They take you to foreign places. We can't go to foreign places now. They teach you about other people's points of view. Spend more time reading a book.
Well, today's show has been brought to you by Books, our new sponsor, Book. Have you heard of
Books.
Book?
And time travelers and take a vacation and
Remember what John Waters said about books? Back in the 80s, 90s, John Waters had a famous quote, the director. He said,
book never killed anybody or something.
that if you go to somebody's house the first time and there are no books, do not sleep with them.
That's great. That's great. I bet book sales went up.
I love you.
I love you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Subscribe, tell a friend. We'll be here every Wednesday for your podcasting needs. And don't forget to call your mother.
Doesn't it seem like everybody and their mother has a podcast? Oh, so I started a podcast.